Welcome to the Great Girlfriends podcast, where we discuss life, love, laughter, and everything in between. We're your hosts. I'm Sybil Amuti.
And I'm Brandis Daniel.
And before we jump into this week's episode of the podcast, make sure you sign up for our newsletter at
thegreatgirlfriends.com.
And don't forget to leave us an amazing iTunes review.
Yes, that is the payment for listening to this podcast.
I love it. 5 stars all the way. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, the Colored Girls. We have Tori and we have Victory.
We're so excited to have them.
Yay!
You can say hello, Tori.
Tori's like, what do I say? Say hi.
Hi, you guys. What are they called? Great girlfriends?
Great girlfriends. Yeah. We're so excited. Like, there's so many things happening right now. We've made it through the holidays.
Yes.
How was your Christmas, Sybil?
Busy. full of kids and gifts and travel. So much, y'all. Just so much. But I'm really grateful. I'm grateful to have spent time with family, I'm saying that, and enjoying the children in Atlanta and seeing friends in Atlanta and all of that stuff. So
let me tell you, I have been like holding my breath waiting to get to Memphis. Seriously, New York, I'm done for a while.
The cold will do it to you, first of all.
First of all, this cold, and not just the cold, like walking in the cold and not having a parking lot. I seriously thought about driving around New York all of December.
You should move
then
to
I was
Jersey.
Just like, that's going to be too expensive.
It'll solve all your problems.
She thinks moving to Jersey will solve
She's
all
in
my
Jersey.
life.
She gets it.
Lord have mercy. Great girlfriends, they trying to gang up on me today.
Life is simple. It's more simple. How was your holiday?
It was great. I decided to do a vision board and just get ready for like the next year, and decided to just take time for myself because I'm always on.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it was amazing.
Nice.
Let me tell y'all, great girlfriends, because Sybil and I have one of the most exciting trips of our life coming up. And we honestly, y'all, we cannot wait to go there and pour into the women who are going to be there. And we hope those of you who are listening have already planned to be there and bought your tickets to be there. But you're asking me what I'm talking about, right? And I'm talking about the Amara Retreat, which is going to be in South Africa this year. Yes. Woo! And our guests on the podcast today are the ones who, came up with this brilliant concept and idea and had the courage to really, right?
Yes.
to really step all the way out of their comfort zone, I'm sure.
Yes.
Right? And come up with these international retreats, which honestly, if you guys aren't coming, you're going to be looking on Instagram
having serious FOMO.
Having serious FOMO, right?
Complete FOMO. Partially because not only does the retreat make you feel like you should have been there if you've seen the images from last year's Imara retreat, but the pictures, the images, the women, the vibe, the energy, everything is just so enticing. And I feel like last year I experienced a bit of FOMO and wondering why I wasn't at Imara. And then when we got the invitation this year, I was like, we are going to make this the best Imara retreat in history ever.
The lineup is insane.
Yeah.
Oh my God. We cannot wait.
Yeah, we're super excited.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so now, Victory. Okay, can you guys give us just a rundown? First of all, we're going to let y'all give us a rundown of the retreat. And then we have to find out the backstory on how this came about. But give us a little backstory. Give us a little, some little highlights of what we can expect at the retreat.
So for the retreat, just so you all know, it's the end of March. So it's March 24th through the 31st. And honestly, it's 7 days of just women pouring into each other. And the way we made the programming was to allow you to get in touch with your higher self. So each day is a step for you to get to that point. So when you leave, you feel as if you've been reborn and rejuvenated. And so the retreat, ladies, oh my God, there will be sessions where we're going deep. We're talking about mental health. We're talking about motherhood, not always the beautiful side of motherhood, but just being real and honest. We're talking about entrepreneurship, how to thrive in a 9-to-5, and just that journey and that conversation that us as women go through on a day-to-day, just taking titles away. Amara is not about you being a CEO or a VP or any of that. Amara is about you coming as you are, as a woman, and everyone meeting you at that point and telling you that it's okay to be who you are and that you're enough no matter like what stage of your journey you're in.
I love that.
So good.
Yes, well said.
Like, Victor, if you want to add to that.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't have said it better myself. That's really what it's about. It's about connection and communication, and then also love, because the whole birth of this movement was from that, because we love us, we love women, we love Black women, we love just the human experience, and we feel like to be able to connect on that deeper level and strip everything away, all the masks, all the titles, like she said, all the baggage of the material world, and be able to meet soul to soul is a really magical and powerful thing, and that's what we're cultivating.
I love that. I love that. So Sybil has given me a little bit of the backstory about, I mean, when I tell you, I believe, who did you go? You went to lunch with Tori or Vic?
Okay, so I went to lunch with Tori first. Was late picking up my kids.
Because I remember you calling me after this.
Like, you gotta come with me to pick up my kids now. Because I'm like way late grabbing my kids. And then Victory came to town and we went and had dinner at the mall, and the three of us just sat and laughed and talked and I mean, I'm telling you, there was no disconnection. There was never like a tell me about yourself. It was like, it's something powerful when women decide to just be.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Just be.
Yes.
Just meet in the common ground. Don't look for it. The common ground is there.
Yeah, it's there. It's
there.
Yeah.
We're women. So let's just meet on the common ground and build from there. And I think we just kept building volume and layers in the conversation from there. And we were there all night at the steakhouse and Victory. I think you had to fly out the next day, or maybe not the next day, but we were there well beyond our time.
Always flying out.
We're always flying out. We were there well beyond our time. But what it reminded me of, which is so powerful about Tori and Victory too, is your story is very similar to Brandis and ours. Brandis and I met through a great girlfriend. So this was pre-social media. This was pre-Instagram. There was no gram. This will be 9 years ago that we met.
There was no gram.
There was no gram. There was Facebook, but you were like crazy if you were putting your business on Facebook back then. It was just, you had to meet in person back then, or you had to know the referral process. And so we had a great girlfriend that introduced us. And we hit it off, and that was just the beginning of what evolved into so many layers of a great friendship.
Yeah.
You all met on Instagram.
Yes. Oh my God.
We did.
So out of the two of us, I'm the millennial. So I'm the one who all of my friends are from like the internet. Like I met you from the internet. My boyfriend's from the internet. Like,
really?
Yes. I think the internet should sponsor my life. But Victory actually had this really cool like pixie cut, and I remember finding her. I think the Cut Life had posted her, so I start kind of Insta stalking. And then you know how you have those friends that you don't know, but you're commenting and kind of tagging each other and stuff. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're like a friend in your head.
Yes. And so I lived in Texas. She was here in New York, and I remember I was flying up here like every weekend because I just needed to escape like my life in Texas. And so we met for dinner and just hit it off. And I think I moved to New York within like 2 months after that.
Wow.
And we've just been like really good friends. And from that, the Colored Girl birth, and then Amara birth, and and Victory. I don't know if you want to add to that, but
so the internet should definitely sponsor your life. So she's a millennial. I'm not. I'm technically on the cusp, but I'm a Gen Xer. So we're 10 years apart. I just turned 40 this year. She just turned 30, and I'm very much. I'm the analog to her digital. So it works really well, actually. The ways that we kind of flow together energetically, but we both have a lot of mutual admiration for each other, and we both have a lot of things that are different, but the things that we have in common are like these soul tie things, like the creative aspect, the love for people and humans and other women, and the way that we're not afraid to actually face our fears, things like that we have in common. So those were upfront in our connection right away, and it was very highly like palpable. So that's kind of what bonded us so closely. which I actually appreciate every single day.
I love that. I love it. So how do you ask someone to dinner on Instagram?
Yeah.
So I'm the type of person, I have zero fear. Like the worst someone can say is no. And so I have no problem like sliding in people's DMs like, hey, you want to meet? Like it can be, I will slide in Oprah's DMs. Like that's just my personality, right? So yeah, I just went for it. I was like, hey, I'll be here. You want to grab dinner? She said yes. And it's just life has gone on since then. So I think that just having that non-fear factor and just taking that leap. Yeah. And I'm in sales, so we're taught 10 no's until a yes. Yeah. And so I do everything with that perspective.
Yeah. How did you know that the friendship could make good business?
So we went into creating The Colored Girl from a passion perspective. It never was supposed to be a business. It was always, we're going to tell women's stories and this is the way we're going to do it. And from that, the world like took it like and was like, oh my God, this is amazing. So it went viral instantly. From that, then people wanted us to become a business, like because they started demanding. And then from that demand became a supply. Yeah. And so I think because we didn't go into it with this mindset, we're going to be business partners. It was just friends who created something dope who then turned into business partners.
So our good girlfriends might not know about The Colored Girls and what you guys created. What was that?
Go ahead, Nick.
So The Colored Girl started out. So what happened is we got snowed in one winter in my apartment. It was a huge blizzard, and Tori was like, "Oh, I'm gonna come over and hang out." And then that turned into like a 3-day like we're snowed in. We're really hanging out. And a conversation started about, hey, let's put our creative mojo together and do something really dope, like for our community, like just to have conversations and involve like women of color, specifically Black women. So the conversation started around like, well, who am I? And it birthed from the whole identity concept of like, well, even though everything about our identity, like we're Black women, informs how we move through the world, it's not always something that's at the forefront for us internally, but externally, that's all we're seen as. So we kind of started having this conversation and turned into like hours-long conversation, and we decided to do campaigns. We were like, well, how can we have these conversations in a public forum in a way that people will pay attention and that's still like palatable? So we were like, let's take everyday things that most women are obsessed with, which is beauty and fashion, and use them as like tools to get people's attention. And Tori happens to be she used to be an amazing wardrobe stylist. And so she was like, well, let's do a high fashion spread. Let's do a campaign. So we decided to do a full-blown campaign. And from that, the campaign that we launched a few months later went super viral, thanks to like Essence Magazine jumping on board and like Fashion Bomb Daily, and the internet just went crazy and exploded. And then, as she said, from there, people started demanding more of us. So we just had to, it was our calling. It was one of those things that we kind of fell into. And it's funny how you asked about the friendship, because we didn't know the friendship was going to birth the business, but the business has actually really shaped a lot of our friendship moving forward and helped us to shape ourselves as women individually as well. And we've learned so much in the last 2 years about ourselves and each other.
I love that. I love that. I think a business partnership does that because it's kind of like a marriage where you're forced to deal with everything.
Everything. She's my wife. I always tell her, I'm like, you're my work wife. You ain't going nowhere.
And everything that happens in your business partner's life matters to you. It matters, like your travel matters to Tori, vice versa, and holiday plans, everything, like the consideration just... People don't understand. It is literally like another marriage. If you're married, it's like having,
absolutely.
But you don't really know somebody. There's a few ways you really get to know somebody. If you live with them, if you do business with them, and then there's another one. I can't remember the third one, but those two, for the most part, is basically a crash course in you want to strip it all the way down to the raw nitty gritty. Let's do business or let's live together. And the doing business kind of like totally stripped us down to like all the way to the bare bones. So we've shown each other our bare bones and zipped it all the way back up and dressed it up and gone out on red carpets and all the way back down again to bare bones. And that's like our routine. But that's how you really know, you cultivate a deep relationship. And we always try to keep that communication open, even though we're completely different. Like as women, we're total like opposites in a lot of ways, like I said earlier. But we do have a lot of things like the really heavy soul connection type things in common or that are complementary, which helps on top of the communication, keep our great girlfriendship together.
Yeah, absolutely. We could not agree more.
No, absolutely.
We could not agree more. I'm curious though, what about that dinner made you go, I'm moving to New York? Like, as soon as you said that, I was like, wait, what happened at that dinner that made you go, I'm moving? Where did you live in Texas?
So I'm originally from Houston, but since a little girl, I've always said I'm moving to New York. And television, media, everything makes New York seem so glamorous.
Right.
And I grew up like very poor in a trailer, like single mother household. And so all I had was my dreams. Like I didn't know a different life, but I watched television and I was like, I know there's another world out there and I plan to go.
Wow.
And so after college, I got a job with 3M and they knew I did not want to stay in Texas, but they kept me in Texas after I signed on. And so I was miserable. And so, like I said, every week I was like in New York escaping because I'm 21, making six figures. All my money came to New York. And after that dinner with her and with her being 10 years older, being able to kind of put that wisdom in me, like, just do it. Like, why are you living a life that you don't want to live? And so put my 2 weeks in and I drove up here and I've been here about 5 years now.
Wow.
I
Wow.
love it.
Sometimes
Slow clap.
That's why I think what you guys are doing at the Amara retreat is so important. What we do is so important because I think sometimes you just need to have a conversation with somebody who's doing it or who's been where you want to be and who's living where you want to go. All of those things just matter so much.
Yeah. And I think those intergenerational conversations.
Oh
matter
yeah,
so much
they do.
Because she's been where I'm at now, right? As far as an age, there's certain journeys that just naturally happen as women, and you don't know it until you get there.
Oh my gosh,
and people are telling, like, she'll tell me, "Oh, you'll see when you get there." I'm like, "Girl, no, I'm not." Now I'm 30, and I'm like, "Oh, girl,
yes." But you guys are living such a different life.
Yeah.
So I had a group of 20 somethings at my house, and they were talking about like all this pressure they felt to achieve, and I was like, you guys are in your 20s. What do you like?
That we didn't feel that.
Aren't you supposed to be somewhere dancing?
Right. We were totally dancing in our 20s and
they
90s.
feel so much pressure. And then I just, honestly, it was such a disconnect for me. I was not understanding why they were so stressed. And they were like 20-something years old. And then they said, Brandis, we see all of our friends doing all this stuff. I was like, you guys have social media. That's the difference.
Yeah.
So everyone looks like they're popping on social media. So you're like, oh, I got to get myself together. Wait, she's at a party with who?
Yeah.
She's having dinner with who? Like,
yeah.
And we didn't have any of that pressure.
That makes me wonder, for you two, you had that dinner, but what made you feel safe enough to go, okay, girl, here's social media, but this is what's going on Monday through Friday once I'm off Graham. Yeah. Because there is people do tend to present their best and highest self on social media. Even in the transparent low moments, you're presenting the best of the low. Mm-hmm. What made you guys feel safe enough to say, I can be vulnerable with you here? I think that's a big challenge for women is that when they do create that physical touch point, they still want to sit up straight, have the posture, have everything prepared and be so perfect.
Yeah.
But what do you think it was about the two of you?
So we're really good at reading vibes, even through like social media. So we're good at feeling energy of people. And so we just had a great energy with each other. And then once we met and had that conversation, it just solidified it more. We're able to see behind the facade. And I think it's just a gift that we've been blessed with to be able to someone can tell us something, but we're able to see the real answer and see the truth from what it is. And the one thing, no matter throughout our relationship, the goods, the bad, the highs, the lows, we never stop trusting each other. And so I think to have that trust factor as the foundation is what has kept this relationship strong. But I just say sometimes you have to just be open to a relationship and go in knowing that you could potentially get hurt. But the fact that you just let that guard down to even try, you'll learn something regardless.
That's so good. Because what's the worst that can happen if we get hurt, right?
Yeah.
We think if we get hurt, we're going to,
We're going
to shrivel up and die or something, right? We're so
yeah, but you have to allow that in though. Like you have to allow. You don't really live if you don't allow room for the error, for the ugly, for the hurt. Like that's part of the experience.
Yep.
That's so
Absolutely.
good, Victory. You're so right. If you live guarded all your life, you really never live.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't. I've never really been guarded like that. I've always had an open heart. And like Tori said, it's one thing that's another thing we have in common is like we're really good at reading energies, or like it's very intuitive. And I'm very much, I trust people until they give me a reason not to. Like I don't go into things distrustful, because I know myself. So, and even if I don't, I know my heart, So I'm always going into things like with an open mind and an open heart until proven otherwise. And then again, as she said, the chemistry was so good, but of course there's room there, as in any relationship. It's not going to be perfect. It's a dance that we do. And sometimes I'm gonna step on her toes. Sometimes she's gonna step on mine, but it's like, let's keep dancing, girl. Like we're good.
I love that.
The thing that I love about Victory is she always accepted me for who I was and who I am, as opposed to growing up, a lot of girls and women never liked me, and I never knew why, right? And so to meet someone who was like, it's okay to be exactly who you are, and I love you for that allowed me to take a guard down. Because I always trusted people, but then I would end up getting hurt from it. But with her, once I felt safe enough to truly be vulnerable, that I think that allowed me to like grow and be more open with other women, and then to be able to create these safe spaces. Because just to kind of tell you a story, when we were coming up with Amara, we were like, do we really want to open our network up to like just any and everybody? Because before it was a very competitive nature, right? It was like you keep it close, you don't give your contacts away. And we had to work on that. And from us saying, you know what, we're opening it up and let's see what happens, because the way these women are blessing us, they need to bless other women. And I think that was one of our biggest lessons, to let go. And now all doors have like been open for us in doing that. And I think that's something that women should really look into doing. Stop holding it so close to your heart and open and let it just flow.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
Yeah.
We're recording a podcast with a woman later today just about that very topic. Because we don't know, I barely know anyone else who, she will open up her contacts, her world to everyone. She just lives her life like that. And I'm like, more women, we need to talk about this.
Yeah.
We need to talk about this.
You mentioned.
Well, she's a conduit. She's a conduit for blessings, though.
Oh,
yeah,
absolutely.
You mentioned earlier something that's so important that I think so many times women forsake, is the power of your intuition, and sort of being guided and understanding that instinctive nature, the feelings, the direction that we get, that discernment is useful, even not just navigating social media or business or friendships, but any relationships that we're building, and that we have permission to go by that. We don't have to have written criteria and then completely forsake what our discernment or our intuition is showing us about people. And that will lead us to the right relationships.
And one thing I will say is people have to be mindful of intuition versus ego. Like they have to know when it's their ego talking to them as opposed to a real intuition. But once you get to that point of knowing like, okay, this is a real intuitive feeling, then all your decisions will be made like right, as opposed to if you're making decisions based on your ego, that's a fear-based thing. And so you end up blocking those blessings that you could have gotten had you kind of checked your ego and just went with what your intuition was telling you.
We were literally just talking about that yesterday. It's so crazy.
Absolutely.
I think it makes a world of difference, honestly, in the type of the quality. Because, so many people want to go after quantity. They want followers and relationships and a big Rolodex. And that is not the leverage that we need to get anywhere in life. It's not the quantity, it's the quality of the relationships. That's where the value is. And I think if we spent more time seeking out quality relationships and seeking to get the most quality out of the relationships, because you guys could have been like, no, we're just going to do dinners and that's it. But you were willing to ask, what else? What else can this relationship offer us in the world? Like, what difference can this relationship make? I think it just really does build out. I don't think you guys saw Imara when you first started.
No.
Right?
No.
We saw safe spaces, but we didn't see Africa
No, you know what it is? It's like it's what you said. I think it was you that just said it, Sybil. I think it's a qualitative aspect to life, and we value the qualitative over the quantitative, right? So it's like we are very big on how can we be better within ourselves? How can we be better to each other? How can we be better within the world? How can we help the world be better with themselves and each other? So it's like a ripple effect, and it's very much based on qualitative factors like the energy you put out, not how many friends you have or how many followers or things like that. So we live in that world.
I love it. I mean, because last year was Morocco, right? Mm-hmm. And then this year is South Africa.
Yeah.
Okay, tell us just, because there's some great girlfriends who are like, okay, you guys have told us about this retreat. We don't know how to go. We don't know who else is going to, we love Sybil and Brandis, but who else is going to be there? Give us kind of a nice little like behind the scenes lowdown on this event. So we know it's March 24th. Mm-hmm. Where
so it's in South Africa, but it's in the cradle of humankind. And the reason why we picked this location is because the first human remains were found here, and it was a Black woman. So it's significant history to show you that everything has started with us. So we need to go back to that and realize our value and realize like who we are as a people. Mm-hmm. And so we chose that location based on that. And I don't know if you all have been to Africa, but it's something about the continent when you step on the grounds, like it's an energy that just like awakens in you, where you have no choice but to take the mask off and be who you are. Wow. And then you come back just an elevated version of yourself from that. And Vicky, if you want to tell them some of the speakers.
So we have an incredible lineup, including Kayla Walker, who is, I think, 7-time nominated Emmy spokesperson personality. I call her my personal Beyonce. She's amazing. Fashion icon in the making, and she'll be there in full effect. We also have Terry Matthews, who is an incredibly anointed, just like big-hearted. She's a motivational speaker. She's also a serial entrepreneur. She does amazing work in her community and throughout the world. She also is the owner of a nonprofit that helps children and parents with autism. We have Alicia Reese, who is a solutions architect, and she does amazing work. I think like right now she's doing the Powerful campaign with Soledad O'Brien. And that's just a few of the women. Outside of that, we have another incredible lineup, women from the continent who are going to be there. Some of our amazing influencers who we love dearly, like Jade Kendall, who goes by Lipstick and Curls, who tries to just infuse people with positivity by showing her everyday life as an influencer on Instagram. And then actually now she's doing the same thing as well. She's connecting with people in person through events like Imara. Who else, Tori? I'm just running down the line.
And we have daily yoga too with Dr. Sanaj Maan, Lady Dork on social media, where the whole point is to start your day intentional. Mm-hmm. So meditating, setting that intention for the day, because one of the things that Victor and I always do is you have to set an intention for your day in order for you to like stay on track and to not get distracted, right? Mm-hmm. So if you wake up knowing today I'm focused on, being happy. Mm-hmm. In those moments where you feel like, okay, I'm getting a little angry, you'll go back to that and remember, okay, no, today I need to be happy. So let's figure out how to get back to that point. So we'll have that. As far as the fun stuff, we're doing a safari. We're doing a dinner under the moon, which is like a rebirth ceremony, glamping. So that's like luxury camping and tents. Then on the grounds, there's like zebras that walk around. It's magical. Yeah, it's magical.
Okay. So
thecoloredgirl.com and click on the Amara Retreat tab. All the information's there. We have about 3 packages still left for you to book, and everything's included except for your flight. And so we've made it very simple and very easy to just come as you are and enjoy being around other great girlfriends and just having the experience of your life. And we also have payment plan options. And so we just thought it all the way through for you ladies, because we want this to be an experience that will really elevate and change your life.
Yeah. And sometimes we have to just invest in, we're in January now, so you've got January, February, March. But sometimes you have to just say, you know what? I have never done this for me. I'm going to do this for me.
The other thing, Brandis, and for all of you great girlfriends that are listening, one of the major questions that comes away from our conference every year is, how do you get in the room with these women that are so da 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 da? How do you build your tribe? And I think this particular experience is an opportunity for women to invest in being in the caliber of a tribe that you would want to be around, learn, gain exposure, contribute, and create the relationships, right? Because every time that you enter a room, you have an opportunity to build tribe and build relationship and rapport. But sometimes you have to make the investment in positioning yourself in rooms that you know you belong in. And you guys have set the platform. You've set the stage for women who would not traditionally have access to certain rooms. Maybe you live in towns that are small and you feel like no one ever comes to your town. Well, get to Imara, right? Be in the room.
Yeah, and it's an intimate enough experience that everyone can learn each other's names.
Yeah.
And last Imara, so much business came from this. So many I
think I saw that happening.
Relationships. I tell you, it's an investment that's worth it, because where else can you go for 7 days to be with these women to have these conversations and to say, this is what I need, and someone tell you, okay, I'm willing to help you.
Absolutely.
Right.
I love it. I think I saw Shireen, who was at our conference.
Shireen will be there,
Yep, Shireen from On TV. I think I saw Kim Page. She's coming from Sundial.
Mahisha Dillinger.
Mahisha's coming? Wow.
Yes.
So there's no excuses, girlfriends. There's no excuse for why you can't build the relationships that you desire. Social media is a winning platform, a tool that if you use it properly, you can build business, you can build relationship, you can find your boo, you can have whatever. It's according to how you use it. And there's no excuse for why your friendships can't embody so much more than just a Sunday brunch. I mean, there are so many layers to the relationships, and it's up to us. It's our responsibility in 2019 to do a deep dive into our relationships and discover what lies there, and to also open up the big question of what else? What else? What else sits in the belly of these relationships? Look at Victory and Tori, the great girlfriends who come together, the colored girls who come together. Tori is DM queen, honey. Let me tell you something. DM queen. She is DM queen.
She really is, though.
She is DM queen. And because Tori, when you DM, somehow you time it where you know what? You're paying attention to when people are active. Is that what it is? She catches me. I'm like, how does she know? Because when you first DM'd me back in, I don't know, April or whatever, I was like, I was trying to figure out, I was never in DM at that time. Then I became a DM queen, and I was like, everyone needs to be in there.
Okay.
But Tori really kickstarted it because you just timed it so beautifully. Your messages always appeared right when I was engaging. And she was always so endearing. It was like you knew her, but you weren't sure if you knew her. So you're like, I think I must know her already because she feels so familiar. So by the time you came to the Great Girlfriends Conference, we had already had conversation about you. And when you walked up, it wasn't a matter of, it's nice to meet you. It was like, get over here and hug. And like, it was just what it was. And then you just see how all the magnets attract, right? And you see how the energy attracts and how the relationships just continue to build upon one another once you position yourself with the large question of what else is available and what can I bring to the table? Because you bring so much energy. Victory, oh my gosh. So much energy, so much fire, and Victory has a new album out, by the way. That is their single is amazing. So tell them the name of the single and where to find it.
The name of the song is called Burning Bridges. Then it's a song about sacrifice and renewal, and it's available on all platforms, but my two faves happen to be Spotify and Apple Music. Okay, and then the third is Amazon, but Spotify is my number one go-to, and the link is actually in my bio. But thank you so much for that, and I appreciate it. And you ladies are amazing. Like, let's give it up for y'all one time, because seriously, like, being able to, like, everything that you're saying is really just, like, speaking to my soul, because when you said, like, sit at the table, in my mind, I'm like, you don't want to just break bread with people, you want to break spiritual bread. Like, it's a potluck. You bringing something, I'm bringing something. Now let's break bread together, but like on a spiritual level. That's how I feel, like just even being connected with you ladies.
I love that. We're so excited. Like, our entire intention for Imara is to come and pour. I know we're going to get so much.
Yeah, we already know that part.
We already know. I already know. We're going to get it, but we really want to come and pour.
Yeah.
So we're so grateful that you guys considered us for this opportunity. We're so excited about it.
We would love to give your community, the Great Girlfriends, a discount code.
Wow.
So we can set that up.
No excuses.
The Great Girlfriends, you should know this because you listen to them, will be the code. And so if you come to Amara, you get a family discount.
Oh, I love that.
Ladies.
Thank you.
See, don't say
But-
we never gave y'all nothing.
Look, I feel like I need to do a little bit of an appendix because Sybil here is talking about DM. She knows some of our great girlfriends don't know what the heck a DM is. So for our great girlfriends who are listening, and you're like, what in the heck is a DM? It's a direct message. And it's a direct message that you can send on Instagram. You can also send it on Facebook, but people send
everywhere.
direct. So you can send a message to someone that you don't even know on Instagram by using the direct message feature. I just have to put that in there because my mom listens to this, Sybil. And she's going to be like, what is Sybil talking about?
Sorry.
DM.
Mama, check your DM. You have some messages in there.
This was amazing.
Gosh, Tori and Victory, thank you so much for your time. Make sure, great girlfriends, you run and grab those last few packages and join us all in Africa for this amazing retreat.
We're so
and then go get Victory single.
Yes. Now, okay, give us your social media, guys, ladies.
It is the.coloredgirl for Instagram or Amara, IMARA.retreat. And my personal one is Sabali Wanderer, SABALI WANDERER. And then Victory.
And Victory.
Yeah. And mine is SRVJ. Or you can search me by Victory Jones.
All right.
Perfect.
Cool. Well, we're excited.
We will meet you ladies in
Awesome. Thank
Africa.
you.
Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
We could not end this podcast without thanking our amazing husbands.
Yes, thank you, Kwaku.
And thank you so much, Rich Daniel.
And our beautiful children, thank you, Sam and Dylan.
And thank you, Miss Sky Daniel.
And thank you to all of you, great girlfriends, for trusting us as your go-to source for everything life, love, and laughter.
You can check us out on our social, on Instagram,
The Great Girlfriends,
on Twitter,
_great GFS,
and on Facebook.
The Great Girlfriends.
And please make sure that you join our Facebook group, which is over 16,000 women strong.
Absolutely. And make sure you listen every single Wednesday on iTunes, Spotify, Podcast Bean, Podcast Republic, Google Play, and every other podcasting service.
Absolutely.
Be sure to post your questions, share with your friends, keep listening, and keep being a great girlfriend. I'm Sybil.
And I'm Brandon.
And we're signing off.
Peace.
Peace.